Hello everyone, my name is 𝐓𝐚𝐱 𝐒𝐲𝐚. Today we will be discussing one of the new allowances introduced in the 2025 budget, the child allowance. Grab a pen and paper because it's about to be an interesting session. So let me begin with telling you what is a child allowance. To put it simply, child allowance, as the name suggests, is a monthly allowance granted to eligible individual as a deduction. If you examined your payslip, you would observe that every month when your salary is being calculated to determine your PAYE, certain deductions are granted or applied which reduce your chargeable income, that is, the amount on which the tax rate is applied. This ultimately provides for you to have an increase in your take-home pay. This means more money in your pocket. Some of these deductions you already know, such as income tax threshold, NIS, and medical and life insurance. In addition to these deductions, an additional deduction of $10,000 per child will also be granted to eligible taxpayers, which is called child allowance. Who is eligible to receive the child allowance? It is important to note that not everyone will qualify to receive child allowance. To be eligible, an individual must have sufficient income. This means that after all other statutory deductions such as the threshold, NIS, medical and life insurance have to be deducted, the remaining balance of income must be more than $10,000 for the full child allowance to be granted, where a person has one child. Likewise, in excess of $20,000 for 2 children, $30,000 for 3 children, and so on. However, where the remaining balance is less than $10,000, that amount will be used as the child allowance. For example, if only $8,000 remain, then that entire amount will be granted as a deduction. Let us examine some examples. The first illustrates a case where child allowance is not applicable due to insufficient gross income, while the second demonstrates eligibility based on sufficient gross income. Suppose your monthly salary is $132,000 after deducting the threshold of $130,000 and NIS of $7,392. That is 5.6% of $132,000. The outcome will be a negative chargeable income. This means you have no remaining income for the child allowance to be deducted. In such circumstances, an individual will not qualify for the child allowance for one child to be deducted. Now, let's examine someone who earns a monthly salary of $188,000 after deducting the threshold of $130,000 and NIS of $10,528 from the total income, a balance of $47,472 will remain, indicating that the individual qualifies for the child allowance. In this example, the taxpayer has one child and will be eligible to claim a child allowance of $10,000. Following this deduction, the chargeable income will be $37,472. Income tax is then calculated on this adjusted amount, resulting in PAYE of $9,368. Notwithstanding, it must be emphasized that if this individual had 4 children, then claims for the child deduction can be made, since that amount after deducting the threshold and NIS is in excess of $40,000. However, if this person had 6 children, claims can be made for 5 children, that is $10,000 for the first 4 children and $7,472 for the fifth child. To determine the benefits received from the child deduction, individuals should compare the PAYE amount calculated without applying child allowance to the amount calculated when applying child allowance. In example 2, where the child allowance was included, the resulting PAYE was $9,368. In contrast, using the same monthly salary without applying the child allowance for one child will result in PAYE of $11,868, a difference of $2,500. This demonstrates that the inclusion of the child allowance reduces the amount of PAYE payable, thereby increasing individuals' take-home pay. So here's the calculation of net salary when child allowance was not deducted and when child allowance was deducted. An employee earning a monthly salary of $188,000 has deductions for NIS and PAYE. With the child allowance applied, PAYE is reduced to $19,896, giving a net salary of $168,104. Without the child allowance, PAYE is $22,396, leaving a net salary of $165,604. In short, the child allowance provides a tax relief of $2,500 monthly, resulting in a higher take-home pay.